Shalom, this is Nizama Shalhamada Bar Yasharal on my channel Nizama the Hebrew Mystic Healer. So before I get started with this video, as always, I'd like to show a little love to my 3D kin, the 12 tribes of Israel scattered to the four corners of this 3D Earth realm matrix. Shalom and much love to you all. I'd also like to give a shout out to my cosmic kin, those of us scattered to the 12 dimensions of this universal egg matrix. Shalom and much love to you as well. And as always, show a little love and appreciation to my viewers, especially those of you who are subscribed. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so now, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. So today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I've been holding off talking about because I was trying to find the exact right words to say. And then today I saw an alert from a particular channel that I follow on YouTube that was talking about the Draconians. And I realized that this is a topic that needs to be discussed right now. So I'm going to be talking about starseed racism. And this is, in my opinion, a much needed topic to discuss because there's a lot of it going on. And just as there is racism going on in the 3D Earth plane, and us being multidimensional beings existing in multiple planes at once, including the celestial realm where the quote-unquote star beings come from, or those EDs or extra dimensionals. So just as there is racism down here, there is racism in the heavens. Just as there is war down here, there's war in the heavens. This is echoed throughout many texts throughout, the ancient ages. This all goes all the way back to the first civilization on Earth and all the way back to the first civilizations in the stars. So the reason I feel this is important to bring up is there is this notion, this misnomer, this false paradigm in the Starseed community that is being propagated by a lot of the quote love and light people, which most of them are polarized and have done absolutely no shadow work or no inner work whatsoever on themselves. And those who have are a rarity based on, the people I've come across. And I'm not saying that to critique, I'm saying that as an honest assessment that if people aren't doing shadow work, then they're not really shining their inner light. They're really shining their false light or projecting out the light that they want people to see. Not what's really there from within. But I digress. So in these same groups, a lot of misnomers are cycling about, good, extra dimensional races, or as a lot of the star people call them, quote unquote ETs. I call them EDs, but good races versus bad races. So what I see propagated is that all of the Pleidian races, Arcturuan races, Andromedan races, the Lyran races are all quote-unquote good star beings. And that the Reptilian races from, Orion and Draco and Sirius and Ophiuchus and Hydra would be quote-unquote, especially those from Draco, Orion and Sirius, would be considered quote-unquote bad starseeds. Another interesting thing to note is that the same races that are considered quote-unquote good starseeds resemble not only the humans on Earth, but resemble mostly, I'm just going to say it, the so-called Caucasian race. And I don't find it to be an accident that just like in 3D, or coincidence I should say, just like in 3D, the people that are running this Earth in this particular age, at this particular time, very oppressively I might add, is the so-called white race. Now, isn't that interesting that in the higher dimensions, the same thing is being propagated, that it's a so-called white race that are the saviors, a so-called white race that are the good guys. Just as white images are painted over religious icons, gods, goddesses, angels, saints, today on this earth, those same images are being painted on the quote-unquote star people. And more importantly, I would like to point out that there are regressive lineages in every star race. Just like there are regressive lineages in every Earth race. I mean, let's be reasonable here. I just felt that this was important to touch on. I don't see it as a coincidence. I see it as a symptom of as above, so below, as within, so without. And just as there have been inserts in the ancient texts of the original melanated people on this earth, let's just call it what it is, a lot of the images of the beings being channeled, because they're being channeled by people, usually, at least the ones that you see out in the forefront, now not all, are so-called Caucasian people. So of course, you know, every being they talk to is going to, you know, look like them. Now, if we believe, just like how Christianity was used as a tool to oppress the melanated tribal nations, to get them, you know, to worship essentially Caesar Borgia, or the image of Caesar Borgia, who was a Roman, even though the original quote-unquote Jesus isn't even Caucasian, he's actually black. And that can be, you know, confirmed within the Hebraic scrolls and scriptures. But it is a tool of decisive control. If you can convince a people that God is white, and the people that are teaching that this is the correct religion looks like that God, then what essentially is being communicated subliminally and oftentimes very directly is that that is the superior image. That's a superior race. Those are the superior gods, or that is God. Now, I'm not trying to pick on pale-skinned races on earth or in the heavens, but this needs to be brought out. This needs to be brought out. And I'd also like to say that there's this propagation that the reptilian races are the only vampiric races, the regressive ones, because there are regressive, like I said, regressive races in every lineage. Many of the reptilian races, like, for example, the ones that are in control of the earth right now, not only are they Caucasian, well, they're not technically Caucasian, they're just light-skinned Edomites. You know, they're not Hebrew Israelites, but they're Hebrew Edomites, and they're still considered a Nibiru race line. They are actually regressive Anunnaki and regressive reptilians, and usually a hybridization of the two. But because the name Dracula, you know, or associated with vampires, it actually means dragon in Romanian. There's this association that, and because of what's propagated in the alternative news medias, because of, you know, things that David Icke is saying, things that Zachariah Sitchin was saying a lot, there's this tendency for everyone to view reptilians as these blood-sucking beings, and that's just not true. I am technically a quote-unquote reptilian starseed, and I'm vegan. So, you know, come on. In fact, there are actually vampiric races that exist in the Pleiades. Isn't it funny that all the vampires look pale? Why do you think that is? And again, I'm not trying to pick on the Pleiades. It's just an example, because the Pleiades are usually the race that's, you know, most exalted in the Starseed community. Now, the Starseed doctrines are no different than a religion. Just like back in the day, people would base religions off of texts written by people who would have spiritual experiences, who would channel particular beings or gods or angels. Same thing happens now. You know, you see someone channeling, and people who don't have access to their soul star chakra, you know, people who don't have access to the earth star chakra, maybe they sense that they're not from here, but they basically get a star chart reading or starseed reading, and they go with that. And they don't really, they can't access their own records, so they have to be told by others. Now, we all start out, you know, having to work toward that, most of us aren't born having access to our records because that's, our memories are wiped when we go to reincarnate because of the hijacking that occurred in the reincarnation cycle during the time of Atlantis. But that's neither here nor there. I have other videos that talk about that. But in order to access our own personal Akashic records, we have to activate our soul star chakra and higher and activate our earth star chakra and lower. So it's not just about activating the 1st through 7th chakras. We have a total of 144 major and minor chakras on our bodies in this in this particular body. And more expansively within the universe itself, we have 144,000 major and minor chakras. So the more we activate within ourselves, within our, light bodies, the more we can access these records. If we can't access our own personal records, then just like with religion, we are left to rely on other people's spiritual experiences and what they're putting down. Now, these people that channel these beings, that probably is what they saw, because they're probably channeling their own soul group. Because we all incarnate through our own ancestry. And the less diluted the ancestry is, or the less mixed or less polykin, the less diluted the avatars will be. But either way, we incarnate through our ancestral line. This whole bullshit where a quote-unquote, person of a completely different race had some past life in a total different part of the world with no genetic connection, that's bullshit. That's wishful thinking. That doesn't happen. I'm sorry. I'm a cosmic Akashic record reader, and I'm telling you, everyone incarnates through their ancestry. Now, like I said, if you have a diluted ancestry, you have a lot of mixing in your DNA, cosmically and in 3D, then you have either variations of avatars you can take on, but you still incarnate through your ancestry. So yes, a melanated person is likely to channel a more melanated appearing race, and a quote-unquote Caucasian person is more likely to channel a Caucasian-looking race. And it's not always the case across the board because we're all wearing skin suits down here. But majority of the time, the majority of the people's records I look at that are Caucasian here in the flesh are usually of similar appearance in their cosmic origins. Not always, but usually. So if somebody has blonde hair and blue eyes and they're white down here, chances are they're going to be very pale or very blue looking up there. Just call it what it is. So, again, no such thing as all, strands of a particular race are regressive and all strands of a particular race are progressive. Going back to my whole thing of shadow work, this is why we all have to do shadow work, because within all of us, there are traumas, there are regressions, there are feuds. So, we have to work that out within ourselves. But let's stop the deception. Let's stop propagating the deception that all races are either good or bad. And furthermore, the concept that Draconians, for example, come from a different universe and all their souls are diminished, that is absolute bullshit. And anyone that is spouting that is either channeling archonic possessed beings, which I have other videos on that if you guys want to check it out. They're either channeling archon possessed beings, archons themselves, and they're doing this unknowingly, and they think they're channeling light beings, but they're really channeling false light beings. So either that's the case, or they are deliberately deceiving. And probably what's going on is they have some sort of racism within their own DNA that's being projected out in this way. And let me use myself as an example, okay? I am currently in a mixed, hybridized avatar. Now, when I'm in human form, I have incarnated, not always, but quite a few times in a mixed avatar. It always patrilineally follows the Hebrew Nibiru DNA. In fact, patrilineally, I go all the way back to primordial origin. But on the matriarchal side, I tend to have more of a polykin admixture. I have some Pleidian DNA, for example. I have some Andromedan DNA. I have some Lyran DNA. But I am a Nunakai. My origin point was the primordial void, or the dark womb, or the dark mother, emanated out as a primordial dragon. I created multiverses with my collective, and when I chose to embody and incarnate within this universe, I began my journey in Orion. So technically, I would be in Orion Starseed. Specifically, I began my journey in Rigel Orion, but again, more deception there, because there's this lie going on that all Rigel Orions are regressive, and that's not true either. I actually began my journey, within a seraphim angelic incarnation in the 8th dimension of Rigel Orion. So, my point being is that we all have unique bloodlines, we all have unique blueprints, we all have different skin tones, both above in the cosmos and below here on 3D Earth. And we can't just be put in a box. We talk about racism here in 3D, and we know it's a problem here. But yet, we're propagating it in the celestial realms. So I just kind of felt the need to touch on that. No such thing as a good or bad race. Every race has a choice to make decisions that, are more for the betterment of themselves and others, or are less for the betterment of themselves and others in their soul evolution. And they're all different types of races which have diminished their divine spark over time. And there are all types that have not, that have grown exponentially. So I just wanted to point that out, and expose that, rather, because I do see it as an issue in the Starseed community. I actually have, channeled from my own soul group, I have videos on my channel that talk about the true history, that talk about the Anunnaki from an actual Anunnaki Starseed perspective. And it's objective. It's not, it's not biased. It's biased in the sense to where it's from my own genetic memory. But it's objective in the sense where I'm not promoting it like some sort of, oh, Anunnaki are awesome. It's just my own personal records. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped clarify some things, bring more of a balanced perspective, expose some of the false light propaganda that goes on, and really, because this is going to cause more harm than good. If we're all trying to integrate within ourselves, and we're all trying to make this particular plane of existence a better world and raise the vibration here, if we're really serious about that, then we need to expose some of, the mentalities which are dangerous to that process. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was enlightening for you. Have a good day. Take care. Shalom.